What's going on, guys? Jeff back with another What's in the Shop. Well, before I get started, I just want to thank all the subscribers out there that have been emailing me pictures of their customs. I think it's so cool that you guys are starting to do your customs, and they all look really, really cool, and I'm excited for you. I know there's been some other guys who've messaged me and commented saying that they've got back into the hobby after they saw some of my videos. That's great too. That makes me feel great. Makes me feel like I'm doing good work. So I really appreciate all the positive feedback, you guys, and I'm glad you guys are getting into the hobby, and I'm glad you guys that are already in the hobby are taking it to new heights. So I appreciate it. So thank you very much. That being said, we got a lot to talk about today. I'm changing the format of What's in the Shop a little bit. I don't plan on doing these super often, but when I do them, I plan on showing you guys a lot of cool stuff that I have going on. So that was kind of the idea of What's in the Shop to begin with back in the day when I was doing it. When I first started, I wanted to just showcase some things I had going on, let you know what's going on in my world. So needless to say, we've got a lot to cover today, and I'll pause the video and we'll start going through this giant amount of stuff one by one. Okay, first things first, I want to give a special thank you to Michael, who comments a lot on my videos. Him and I email back and forth a lot. I hope everything's going great up there in beautiful Canada, Michael. I'm enjoying our conversations and our correspondence, man. We briefly talked about some deep sea diver items a month or two ago. I sent him a helmet that he's going to use for one of his displays he's doing at home. So he talked to me about a chest weight that were on deep sea diver suits that never really came with the Hasbro sets. And I started looking at it after he mentioned it to me, and I thought, that's exactly what they didn't do that. So I know Michael's going to make his own chest weight, so I decided to kind of work on my own as well. And I just took some pictures I found on the internet of chest weights, and I kind of scaled it to what I thought was okay. And I took some Sculpey, and I actually cut out a small pattern for the chest weight, as you see here, and then I just cut it out of this Sculpey, and this is kind of like a prototype of a chest weight. I'm going to make a better one, a more refined version. This is just one I wanted to see if I could do. So this is what I've done. So Michael, when you see this, I appreciate you inspiring me to do this. It's a cool thing. I plan on making a few chest weights for my deep sea divers now, and I'm gonna cast when I get the final prototype made. I'm gonna cast it, mold it, and cast it, and make it pretty cool for my my deep sea divers. So thank you, Michael. I really appreciate you inspiring me to do this. Okay, next up, I used to go to a lot of comic book conventions 10, 15 years ago, some buddies. And the second to last comic book convention I went to, I took some G.I. Joe Adventure Team box cover art. I have a lot of this box cover art I used to put on bulletin boards and stuff. But I took this box cover art and this box cover art, namely, from the two sets. And let me put these off to the side here. I took them to a comic book convention, and I challenged artists at the Artist Row, the Starving Artist Row, to come up with their own concept of those two images. And here's the first one, with the Air Adventure and the famous and hard to find jetpack. And then here's the other one. This is a really cool scuba diver. And I thought that was really cool, and I wanted to share that with you guys. Now I have a third print, and I'm not sure where the heck happened to it, but it was a really hilarious and cool print of a land adventure. I might have given that to somebody. So if you're watching this video and I gave that print to you, just send me a shout out. Let me know I gave it to you, because I've given a lot of stuff away the last few years, and I've lost, ever since we had a baby, my memory's starting to slip. So, but these are cool. These are one of a kind art pieces that I have, and I thought that would be cool to share with you guys as well. So some Adventure Team inspired art that I did at I had done at a comic convention. So those minor commissions, I think they cost me like $5 or $10 a piece. I might have tipped the artist another $5, but I thought you guys would enjoy that. That's something new and unique. All right, next up. If you have seen my Sabotage of Spy Island short story, or photo short, this is what actually inspired it. These are pictures I took with an actual Kodak disposable camera back in July of 2000. So you can see here, back then, I just did it in my parents' basement at the time. I had some 21st Century Toys, Navy SEALs, the KB Toys exclusive figures. And I just kind of toyed around with different scenes. Here's another one in a garden. Just a 21st Century Toy figure, kind of all geared out. But back to the Navy SEAL scene. I just kind of took a bunch of pictures. Throw these off to the side. Here's some more of those figures. But I took some pictures here. I just recently came across these when I was going through some old files. I kind of wanted to share these with you guys. They're pretty cool. It's kind of how I started out taking photos back then. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I just took photos with this disposable camera, and I'm sure when I got these developed at Walmart, they probably thought, what in the hell is this guy doing? But yeah, this is kind of what inspired me to do the Sabotage of Spy Island. If you go through that photo story again, and I'll put a link in the description for that, you can see a little inspiration there. I mean, it's obviously different characters, but you know, I used my furnace instead of the water heater. But yeah, those are original pictures from back in 2000 when I was heavily into the military stuff. So I thought that'd be cool to share with you guys some of my old photos that I've taken. All right, we'll cover some reading material real quick. This is an IDW comic called Sea of Sorrows. If you're into horror as well as deep sea diving stories, this is a pretty cool comic. This is issue number 2. Issue number 1's awesome. I haven't got around to this one yet, but it was readily available, so I wanted to share that. Sea of Sorrows, you can find it online. I'd definitely check it out. The synopsis, you probably really, really like it. All you guys who are into the diving aspects of G.I. Joe. King Size Conan, number 1, awesome. It's got some really, really good standalone stories, kind of an anthology comic. I love Conan the Barbarian a lot. I got a really cool review of a Conan item coming up here soon, so definitely check this out. Marvel, one of their best comics has got to be Conan the Barbarian and all the Conan-themed series that they're doing. And of course, I talked about this last time on What's in the Shop, Wolverine Black, White, and Blood. The stories in this issue were a lot weaker than the last issue. I was a little disappointed, but I still think the comic's really, really good and some of the best stuff that Marvel's doing. And that's not saying a lot because Marvel's not doing a lot of good stuff right now, but it's still a good comic. Now, for those of you guys who like to read, I read a lot. I listened to a podcast recently with the author, Kermit Pattinson, of this book. It was on the Joe Rogan Experience. And that was a super interesting story about this fossil that they found in Africa. This is the book. My dad already read it, and then he bought it for me. I think this is going to be an awesome book. I've read a lot of reviews. It seems very, very interesting. So definitely give Fossil Man a check out if you're into anthropology and paleontology and, you know, ancient origins of man and stuff like that. All right, so I've been on a mad hunt over the last year for all the Mattel Masters of the Universe Origins figures as well as the Mega Constructs Masters of the Universe figures. I recently found these. Now I'm going to go ahead and say that Mattel has done the shittiest job of distributing these figures across all the retailers. When they first came out, they were Walmart exclusives, that being the Origins stuff. and you couldn't find them. It was crazy. You had to pre-order them on their website, and they sold out instantly. And then all these scalpers, and we all know what scalpers are. They're the lowest of low. Started trying to sell these for double and triple the price. I luckily found Panther at retail, and I also recently just found these 3 Mega Constructs sets. So it's a Trap Jaw, comes with a laser weapon for the Grayskull Castle Mega Construct set. This is Fisto with some weapons sets for the Castle Grayskull play set. And this last one is He-Man with a Jet Sled, which is a classic late edition Masters of the Universe item for He-Man. So I luckily found all these at Mache for $9.99 a piece, which is what they retail for. But everybody's got these on the scalper sites for $30 to $40 a piece, which is effing ridiculous. Same thing with this. I see this going for $70 or $80, and it just pisses me off that people. First of all, it pisses me off that Mattel can't do a better job of their supply chain getting these out to retailers, and then it really pisses me off when scalpers take advantage of everybody. So, and everybody uses COVID as an excuse. It's COVID this, COVID that. That's no excuse to be an ass and scalp prices. So I'm just going to get that off my chest. But this is really cool stuff. I've been buying it all for my son when he gets older. Hopefully he likes Masters of the Universe as much as I did. Just keep our fingers crossed. Okay, so recently, one of my best friends sent me a text message, and he had a picture of a bunch of Johnny West and some Migo figures from his parents' house he was at. And he asked me if I wanted them. And I was like, yeah, I'll take them. So I got them home, got to looking at them. The Johnny West stuff, a little beat up and broken, but I think I should be able to do something with it. But I was really excited about the Migo figures. So in it was a Migo Batman and Migo Shazam. Crazy story. When I was a kid, one of my favorite toys was Migo Batman. This is the first edition, the Type 1 body. I had the Type 2 body with the blue trunks, the better body. But I always wanted a Migo Shazam, but I never could find it. I live in a small town. We didn't have a lot of toy retailers, so when we went somewhere, it was hard to find that figure, and my mom and dad weren't really interested in getting it for me. You know, I had a lot of different Migo figures, but I always wanted Captain Marvel or Shazam, and I never got it. As I got older, I outgrew Migo. All my figures fell apart. My mom either threw them away or my dad sold them at a garage sale. My parents did whatever they did with all my toys. I give them both shit about that all the time. But crazy how the universe works. Migo Batman was my favorite figure, one of my favorite figures as a kid, and then I always wanted a Migo Shazam, and ironically enough, he sends me this text message, and there's both of them. So the universe, I guess, answered my wish and got me a Shazam. So I've actually got a bunch of reproduction parts off of eBay, so I'm currently restoring all these. I'm getting to restring the Shazam. I've already restrung the Batman, touched up, painted his face. So I'd look for these when they're finished on my Toys and Brews site. Probably post them with some beers. So shout out to my buddy Tim. He's retiring at the end of the week. I'm excited for him, and I want to thank him for giving me these figures. He also gave me his G.I. Joes probably about 15 years ago. He gave me a muscle body and a talking commander and a part of an MSV. So yeah, Tim always hooks me up when he finds his toys at home. Shout out to Toy Polloi. I love that guy's website. Whenever I start repairing something, I usually check and see if he's done it before so I can get a jumping off point. But anyway, he had these Baron Ironblood helmets, and I blew them up to make my own. It didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to, but definitely check out his site. I know most of you guys know who he is. But that being said, I've been hitting up anybody and everybody for a 3D print file, an STL file for Baron Ironblood's helmet. And nobody ever answers me, or when they do, they're just not real nice, or think I'm bugging him or whatever. And I'm trying to get a helmet like this for my Baron Ironblood figure that I'm going to redo. So I hit this dude up on Etsy, and he's been super helpful. He's actually working on a test print right now to print me off a 1/6 scale version. So hopefully I'll get that here in the next month or so. Yeah, I won't say any more about asking people to do things for you. You know, it's not like I'm not willing to pay them or anything, but there's a lot of not nice people out there sometimes. So I'll just leave it at that. But anyway, Toy Polloi, great site. He's helped me restore my Migo figures and several other items. Love that guy. Love what he does. So, this is my Hulk Hogan LJN figure. He has seen some better days. This is mine. It was mine when I first bought him at Kmart back when these first came out. I used to be a humongous wrestling fan. I was really big into wrestling, especially the WWF back in the mid-'80s. In fact, I had a satin Hulk Hogan jacket one of my parents' friends bought me for my birthday, and I loved that jacket. I loved it so much that I wore it once to school, and I was made fun of so bad that I never wore that jacket again. But I'll tell you what, that jacket was dope. And had I had the self-confidence in myself that I do now, I would have told everybody to kiss my ass, and I would have wore that every day proudly. In fact, if I still had that jacket, I know it wouldn't fit me, but if I had an adult version of that jacket, I'd wear that jacket right now. That was a kick-ass jacket. But it was a cool red Hulk Hogan jacket. I loved Hulk Hogan. A lot of kids did. And I had this figure. I've got several other wrestling figures, but he's in the worst shape. So actually, I'm going to do a restoration video of him. I found some paint that I think is going to work on these rubber bodies. It's hard to get paint to stick, so I'm going to do a restoration video at some point. I just wanted to share this with you guys because I just dug him out of my attic the other day, and I love these LJN Wrestling Superstar figures. I mean, you could probably drop this off a building and smash through an armored car. They're so heavy and bulky. So, yeah, that's a cool figure. Love Hulk Hogan. Okay, here's another item I found in my attic the other day. How many people remember Toy Biz's really brief run on 12-inch figures? They did like a Spider-Man, and I think they did one or two other figures, but they did this Wolverine figure in his vintage first or second appearance outfit. I think it was his second appearance in X-Men. His first appearance in the Incredible Hulk, he had a little bit different mask, but this is the one he had in the X-Men in the 70s. But this is like in a Hall of Fame style body, giant bulky rubber body. I have the actual box this came in, and I have his street clothes as well. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this thing. I don't really want to keep it. I might put him for sale on eBay or the Facebook groups, but I thought it was cool to share this with you. These were cool figures at the time because, you know, nobody was doing a lot of 12-inch superhero stuff. And when Toy Biz reintroduced a lot of the superheroes, it really, really took off. So I bought this figure at the time because I thought it was cool. So, but then, you know, Metacom and a bunch of other people started coming out with these really dope Wolverine figures, and this one's a little clunky. But for somebody who really loves Wolverine, maybe they'll be interested in buying this at some point. Well, I hope you guys all enjoyed the Wild Man of Kathmandu short. I really enjoyed doing it. Like I said in previous videos, I wasn't really able to do it exactly how I wanted to, but, you know, it is what it is. I actually laughed because right after I finished shooting it, we got about 10 inches of snow, so if I would have just been a little more patient, I probably could have made the one I really wanted to make, but that's just the way life works out. So that actually wraps up my original trilogy of creature features that I wanted to do several years ago. That being the Bigfoot one, the Savage Sasquatch, the Creature of Doom Lagoon, and now the Wild Man of Kathmandu. That's kind of where I started out. I wanted to do some creature feature stuff, and I got those done, so I'm going to do a brand new trilogy of shorts this coming year. I have 3 of them figured out. I've got one for this spring, one for the summer, and one for the fall. So hopefully I can get all those in. We'll see. So, but anyways, the reason I wanted to show the Wild Man here is I'm going to redo part of him. I'm going to take the short fur off, and I'm going to put some longer fur and redo him here at some point in time. I like the way he turned out, but I think I can do better. And I only really came to that realization. Well, I always knew I could do better on this. I just kind of wanted to get him done in time for the winter. But the reason I came to that realization is when I was doing the photo story, I liked the way he looked, but he just looked too clunky, for me. So, but he looks cheesy enough to be in a G.I. Joe short, so he's still better looking than that little white squirrel from the Sears set. And I think he's better than the later on issue Sasquatch of the Classic Collection. So, but that's just my opinion, because I made him. So anyways, I'm going to redo him. So at some point in time, I'll do a video and show you what I'm going to redo with him on. And also, I'm getting ready to start working on the Sasquatch. I'm going to do a video of him as well. So be on the lookout for that sometime in the next few months. Next up is this coyote skull that I had found it mushroom hunting a couple years ago. Cleaned it all up. So what I plan on doing with it is I'm going to post a link to Gourmet Paper Mache in the description of this video. This guy makes these really, really cool paper mache dragons. He's a really nice guy. He's a former school teacher. I don't know if you guys have ever seen his channel on YouTube, but he does some really, really awesome stuff. He kind of inspired me to get into paper mache back in the day. So I'm going to take this skull and I'm going to make a dragon head out of it. I'm going to mount it on some wood and use some poly clay, and that's what I plan on doing with it. I'm going to do that in a video series too at some point in time this year. So I can't wait to share that with you guys. I've never done it before, but I thought I had this skull and I wanted to use it for something, and I thought bringing it back to life as a cool dragon head, like a mount for a wall, would be cool. I'll probably do that and put it in my son's room. So I wanted to share that with you guys. All right, wrapping it all up. You watched my Super Joe restoration video. This is him now. He fell off my desk about a week ago, and he broke into a bunch of pieces. So all those 3D printed parts that I paid a lot of money for shattered when he fell off on the floor. I'm not very happy about this, to be honest with you. I was so pissed when it happened that I actually got on PayPal. I purchased all the stuff through Shapeways with PayPal account, and I filed a claim with PayPal. But before I did that, I actually emailed Shapeways, and of course, like everybody, they said there's nothing they can do about it. It's between me and the designer. And of course, I've emailed the designer several times, and he's never gotten back with me. So I had no other recourse but to file a claim with PayPal and let PayPal try to recoup my money. I've done so much business with PayPal that I think I'm a verified buyer, and hopefully that they refund my money like they did with that terrible Boba Fett helmet that I foolishly purchased. But this is completely different. This is just this is bullshit. I just wish the designer would answer my email so we could try to work it out, but he's really shown no good faith to do that. So, yeah, I'm just so bummed out. But, you know, it presents an opportunity for me to kind of figure out a new way to restring this guy, which I think I can. So I'm going to take the bad parts, glue them back together, and try to maybe stick build some parts out of styrene, or come up with another way to restring it. I was on the groups the other day, and I saw Joe Zeta and another person on there talking about restringing these, and I left a comment about it, but they don't know if they didn't see it or whatever. But I just went ahead and deleted the comment because, you know, I'm over all this Super Joe stuff. So I'm going to just go about my own business and try to restring him and make him cool. But I'm not going to waste my time with it right now because I'm still really pissed about it. So, yeah, Super Joe's dead right now. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this edition of What's in the Shop. I just finished up our dining room table that I've talked about a little bit. So I got this old machinist table that I've put on wheels several years ago, and this is kind of where I do a lot of my G.I. Joe work as well. So you'll be seeing that a little more in some upcoming What's in the Shop. So I hope everybody's doing great out there. Let's see, January we had the election crisis and the Capitol riots. February we had Texas getting frozen. So it's March now. Who knows what's going to happen? I love chaos. I hope you guys are doing great. Cheers.